So with the success of my slasher Flesh and Blood review series, which you guys had a great time watching them and I had a fun time making those videos for you, I thought I'd bring it back for this newest season of Slasher Ripper. And now before I get into my thoughts on Slasher Ripper, I just want to say, I've enjoyed every season of Slasher. I don't think it has had a bad season as of yet. And I enjoy every season like equally, but I think if I did have to choose a favorite, like I loved Flesh and Blood, which is a controversial opinion since that season seemed to be hit or miss with the fan base, but I don't care. I mean, I fucking loved Flesh and Blood, but I also love season 1 through 3 as well. So this is a series that, I love the whodunit, like, mystery to it. Like, I love the carnage, I love the gore, I love the bloody, violence and brutality that we get in this show. And, I'll go as far to say, I think Slasher has some of the most inventive kills in the subgenre. Especially in the first 3 seasons, I think there's some really damn solid kills. And then Flesh and Blood has some of my favorites as well. And these are the type of kills that I don't think you would be able to get away with, on the big screen, because, TV productions, have smaller budgets, so there's only so much that they can do, per episode. And, you can tell that this is a show made by horror fans for horror fans. You can tell that the creators behind the show, like Aaron Martin and all of that, that they are huge fans of the subgenre, and they want to give like a horror experience like to their fans, and they give everything that we love as slasher fans, which we love the nudity, we love the kills and the brutality and all of that, and we love the whodunit, waiting until the very last second until the killer is revealed. And I think that's something that this show gets. It hits on the head, really well, pun intended there. And so now jumping into this newest season of Slasher Ripper, this was a series that I was really looking forward to. Because this was going to be based in like the 1800s, where there's a very interesting story there. There's some very like interesting brutality you can do, maybe with the executions that that they would have had in that time period, like, and all that. And there would have been like a lot of history to kind of dive into it. There would have been like a completely different like investigation story here. And so it looks like this series was definitely trying to separate itself from the modern day time and kind of go back in time a bit, which I was all for. I was all for that. And so I've seen the first 3 to 4 episodes now. I'm a few episodes behind, but as of now, my thoughts on the show is I think this is the weakest season as of yet. I just don't think the intrigue is all there. I don't think the whodunit is really front and center of the story, because there's this whole detective and investigation storyline going on, and a lot of the runtime is dedicated to this investigation story. And like, I wouldn't mind that so much. I wouldn't mind if the investigation story was front and center. But what doesn't work here for me is the characters. All of these characters, like, are shitholes. Like, none of them you actually like. And I think that's the thing that you really can't. You're not on anybody's side here. You're not really rooting for any main character here. Like, I would say like that the detective character, he's just trying to do his job. He's trying to find out like who the killer is and all of that. But I don't know, just the development here is probably the weakest of any season as of yet. And now, one thing I never want to say about a slasher season, so this will be my first time saying it, is this has the weakest fucking kills out of, the entire 5 seasons of slasher. There's a couple of good kills here, but they're not really memorable. Like, episode 2 has a pretty cool kill. Episode 3 has an alright one, but usually, when you watch a slasher episode, there's always that one kill that will always, astound you. And just this season just feels like it's the most standard, typical, basic kills. Like, there's not a whole lot of, creativity. There's not a lot of, of reinvention to the kills here. And it's not even really all that gory either. Like, there's gore here for sure, but there's not a lot of it. And just this story as well, I'm not buying into this. And yeah, I don't know what it is. Like, it like, what I loved about, the first 4 seasons of Slasher is, you always wanted to watch the next episode to find out what would happen next, to see if you would get, 1 inch closer to finding out who the killer was. This series, all of that intrigue is completely lost. Like, I don't know, this might just be me, but I find myself, like, a lot less motivated to carry on with this season. And, like, I'm 3 episodes in, I continue to give, each episode a chance, like, oh, maybe this might be the episode that will win me over, and then, that ends up letting me down, and then I'll be like, oh, maybe this episode will be the one, and, I've continued to get let down, and, and there's just, to me, there's just, like, a lot of wasted, subplots in this. Like, there's this whole, like, magician character, which, what's his involvement again? What's his involvement? Like, he does magic, there's something suspicious about him, but he is, at the end of the day, he is only there as a red herring. Like, he might have some importance, as this season kind of, goes along, but as of yet, he's just another character to make each episode go to 45 minutes. And all of that, and yeah, I don't know, this show just doesn't have the intrigue for me, and the story I don't think is particularly well executed either. And at least with the other seasons, there was at least 1 or 2 characters you could kind of grab, and there was enough characterization there for you to care. But in this season, no. And that's a disappointing thing. Like, I'm very curious to know what a lot of people think of Slasher Ripper, because this show has got a lot of positive reactions to it, and for myself, I don't see that. And it also might come down to, like, it being a generational thing as well. I think with the first 3 seasons, it was all in present day or modern day and all that, and so maybe kind of going to the 1800s. Like, I thought that there would be a lot more you could do with this concept, because there's no cell phone, so you can't just call someone if you're in danger. And and I always thought that the suspense would be much better in a time period like this, but at the moment it all seems pretty tame, and just each episode is just boring, and it's over reliant. Like, I'm sorry if I'm coming across as I'm repeating myself, but it's so over reliant on its detective story, and the kills are so far and in between. You get maybe 1 kill per episode, and yeah, that's it. There's really just nothing else that has happened. Like, maybe they're still trying to build an arc for these characters, but what is it, like, we're like a quarter way through the season at the moment, and just, yeah, nothing. But yeah, anyways, yeah, they're just my quick thoughts on Slasher. Let me know what you think in the comment section down below.